poem. When we decide who is to hear our story, we waste no time. We have a written inventory, and we are prepared for a long talk. We explain to our partner what we are about to do and why we have to do it. He should realize that we are engaged upon a life and death errand. Most people approached in this way will be glad to help. They will be honored by our confidence. We pocket our pride and go to it, illuminating every twist of character, every dark cranny of the past. Once we have taken this step, withholding nothing, we are delighted. We can look the world in the eye. We can be alone at perfect peace and ease. Our fears fall from us. We begin to feel the nearness of our Creator. We may have had certain spiritual beliefs, but now we begin to have a spiritual experience. The feeling that the drink problem has disappeared will often come strongly. We feel we are on the broad highway, walking hand in hand with the spirit of the universe. Returning home, we find a place where we can be quiet for an hour, carefully reviewing what we have done. We thank God from the bottom of our heart that we know Him better. Taking this book down from my shelf and turn to the page which contains the 12 steps. Carefully reading the first 5 proposals, we ask if we have omitted anything, for we are building an arch to which we shall walk a free manner at last. Is our work solid so far? Are the stones properly in place? Have we skipped on the cement that we put into the foundation? Have we tried to make mortar without sand? God, this is a prayer. Do you want me to read that, Rick?
We're going to do that in unison.
Okay.
Any comments on what he just read?
I have a comment. I know that the steps are to be taken quickly and things like that, but one of the things that we talk about here is, have we tried to make mortar without sand? I had a friend that apprenticed with a brick mason, and he was making mortar with sand for about 2 or 3 years before he was trusted to move on to the next step. So you have to make sure that you're doing the foundational work correctly. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time doing the other stuff, and it doesn't get you anywhere. So you want to make sure that your foundations, if they're done quickly or they're done slowly, they have to be done completely and without any errors in them. That's it.
Thanks, Alan. Anybody else? Alrighty, we're up to our pre-5th step prayer. We can do this one in unison. Prayer. God, please help me to complete my house cleaning by admitting to another human being the exact nature of my wrongs. Please remove any fears I have about this step and show me how completion of it will remove my egotism and fear. Help me to see how this step builds my character through humility, fearlessness, and honesty. Direct me to the right person who will keep my confidence and fully understand and approve what I am driving at. Then help me to pocket my pride and go to it, illuminating every twist of character, every dark cranny of the past, so that I may complete this step and begin to feel nearer to you. Now we have another 5th step prayer that we do in unison. Prayer. Higher power. Thank you for helping me complete my house cleaning. I can now look the world in the eye. I can be alone at perfect peace and ease. My fears have fallen from me. I have begun to feel your nearness. I have begun to have a spiritual experience. I feel I'm on the broad highway, walking hand in hand with the spirit of the universe. We have another prayer. This is our last prayer on the 5th step. Prayer. God, thank you for giving me the strength faith, and courage I needed to get through my my 5-step. I thank you from the bottom of my heart for helping me to know you better, by showing me what has been blocking me from you. Father, please show me if I have omitted anything, and help me to honestly see if my stones are properly in place, or if I've skimped in any area of this work. Now, we're going to have a group discussion, and we might write these down. I'm going to write them down. You don't have to write them down. This is give a one-word description of your life being abstinent. And it can be more than one word, but mainly one word. Anybody?
I would say, this is Terry, I'm a compulsive overeater. Yep. I would say clarity.
Clarity.
Energy and clarity and energy, and there was something else I can't remember, but go ahead. Go out, Pat.
Okay. Anybody else?
Peacefulness.
Say again.
Oh. Go ahead, Des.
Hi, I'm Desiree, compulsive overeater, recovered from bulimia. My abstinence has given me clarity, joy, happiness. It's given me my life back. OA has given me my life back. And I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for the fellowship and the program and everything. Thank you for letting me share.
Thanks, Desiree. Thank you.
Francis, I got peacefulness. I get intuitive thought, from God and the program. So not reliance on self, but reliance on God. Best.
Excellent. Excellent.
Rick?
Go ahead.
I haven't quite gotten here to abstinence that I can say every day I'm abstinent. I'm working on it. But I would say the one word that I'm looking forward to is fulfillment.
Fulfillment.
Which is along the lines of what everybody else is saying.
I like the one from Southern Mississippi. Mo better.
I think I also enjoy food more when I'm abstinent, and simple foods I enjoy more, and I don't require all the complicated recipes of the past. It's very simple, but I enjoy it, my food. Thank you.
Enjoy food, simple food. That's good.
Rick, we're not in a meeting, so I can cross-talk. That's very interesting what Terry says. When you actually eat portions of food and serving sizes of food and correctly prepared food, it's much more tasty than when you're shoveling food into your mouth, because you don't take the time when you're compulsively eating. You don't take the time to enjoy your food and to enjoy the sustenance that God has given us.
Excellent. Excellent. I will give my experience on when I first got abstinent, apples didn't taste that good. But about a year later, apples are really sweet. They taste real good when I got my taste buds reacclimated.
I could give an example of that too. It's like when I was active, I used to make chili and eat the whole pot and threw everything in but the kitchen sink, and had to remedy the situation by eating a lot of sweet foods at night. But after being abstinent, I hadn't had anything like that for a while. And one day I was in the store and I saw a can of beans that had cumin in it. It was pre-prepared for making chili, and I bought that. And it sat on the shelf for a long time. One night I opened it up, and I ate about a half a can of beans, and it was fantastic. I mean, it was just a festival I passed.
Excellent. And this is more than one word, sorry, but guilt-free living, and I don't have the need to eat in secret. I'm not ashamed of what I eat. If somebody sees what I'm eating, I'm not feeling, isn't that a shame that they're watching me eat a 2-pound bag of cookies, eating the whole damn thing myself? That sucked. I didn't like that. Anybody else?
I'd like to share.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Dolly, and I'm a compulsive
Hi,
overeater.
Dolly.
Hey, Dolly.
Okay. So, yeah, my big word that comes to my mind is I'm healthier, and I'm not killing myself. I'm not grabbing that entire bag of chocolate and eating it before the night's over. I'm not eating the entire contents of the ice cream carton. And so portions and getting on an eating schedule has been a lifesaver for me. And I wouldn't have been able to do that if it hadn't been for OA, if it hadn't been for the support of everyone. So gratefulness, gratitude, my heart is full of it, because seriously, the way I was eating, I was killing myself every day. So I just wanted to let y'all know how thankful I am and how hopeful I am. It makes such a big difference for me. So thank you for letting me share.
Thank you. Thank you. Not killing myself and lack of dread. Because one of the things that I didn't like, and it was never a big thing, but in my family, when somebody'd say, where are the cookies? I ate them. It's embarrassing. Of course, I don't do that anymore. I'm going to digress a long way. And this, people that have trouble getting their abstinence, I have suggested to more than one person, and I'm kidding, but you have a live video feed, and you sit there, and everything you eat is fed to your sponsor 24 hours a day. You eat everything in front of that camera. And if you're not embarrassed that your sponsor would see you eating it, then probably it's pretty good.
This is Jerry. There's one thing I'd like to share. Is I was going back to the fifth step. It even goes back to a previous meeting where I said, and I often think that one of the things that is in the fifth step, it says confess to God and to another human being. And so whenever I think of something that I did that was wrong, that may come up, that's new, I do confess to God first. And I kneel down if I can do it and just confess to God. And now in a previous meeting, it came up that God knows all things already. But I've researched that, and there is a response to that, which is that he wants to hear you verbalize it to him because of the power of the word. Something like that is the conventional answer. So it's like it helps you to speak to him also. And I pass.
Thanks, Terry. Anybody else?
Yeah, Rick, if I may just share something. This is on what you had just said. That's a great idea, thinking of that you have a 24-hour feed to your sponsor. Not that my sponsor would want that set up in his house, but it was interesting. The other day, my sponsor lives about 3 towns over from me. And the other day, I was at the library in his town because I had to return something, and that's the only library that was open. And leaving there was a supermarket that carries a certain brand of coffee that I like. So I stopped at that supermarket. And others on this phone, especially Francis, knows I have a problem with the supermarket because I get up to this checkout and it's like, how did that get in there? Oh, the hell, I'll just buy that. But I was petrified all the time that I was walking through the supermarket that I would do that and my sponsor would see me because I was in my sponsor's hometown. So I like that 24-hour live feed to your sponsor. That's a good idea to have, and it puts much more accountability, which I'm always trying to put on myself. That's one of my perfection problems, but it helps by thinking that you have that 24-hour live feed to your sponsor. And even if you're isolating, which is a big problem for us, having that imaginary camera with you. I assume you mean imaginary camera. You don't want me to go out and spend $12,000 on video feeds. But that's probably good because I wouldn't spend $12,000 on food. With that, I'm done. Thank you.
Thanks, Ellen. Thanks. Anybody else? In the dark recesses of my mind, I'm going to share that I've always wanted to raise a group conscience at my Thursday meeting that we will pay a $1 bounty if you see somebody from the meeting in the grocery store and you get a picture of them in their grocery buggy, and then bring it back to the meeting. And of course, you can't do it during the meeting, but the treasurer will give you $1 if you get a picture of them with their grocery buggy and what they're buying. Maybe I'll bring that up. I wonder.
I like that too.
I wonder how the group would like that one. I'm a sick person.
A lot of corporations are doing that these days, doing things like that, creative thoughts. They call it gamification. But, yeah, that's interesting.
Now let's move on. We're now going to have a group discussion of how was your fifth step. And I'll start us out. I was petrified the first time I did a fifth step. I'm not sure what all I was afraid of, but there was a woman, she's since left the program, but I did my fifth step with her, and boy, the promises, the weight that was taken off my shoulders, and I could look the world in the eye, I could be in perfect peace and ease. For me, doing the fifth step was tremendous. It was a great experience for me. Anybody else be willing to share about your fifth step?
I went to a Benedictine monastery that's near here, and talked to a monk that was there. He was very helpful, and definitely I quickened my step, and I felt a lot better afterwards. And but the thing is, I continue to remember things that I have regrets for. That's the thing. So I'm really glad that we're doing this on a monthly basis, because it really gets my mind working along with a lot of other things.
Thanks, Terry. Thanks. Anybody else willing to share about doing your fifth step?
I usually do my fifth step with my wife, but before I do it, what I have to do is say to her, I'm doing this now, so she'll start listening to me, because she puts me on silent mode whenever she can. But it definitely helps to have a trusted person to do that with. But I like Gary's idea of going to, going to a religious area to do it, because that's a good idea, and I wrote that down.
Thanks, Alan.
And I think it happens over and over again, your fifth step. And one of the things that I noticed in this is it said we pocket our pride and things like that. And we also have to take constant inventory of our pockets, what's in our pockets, so that we don't overload it. One of the things I wrote down on my pad of paper while we were going through this is when it talks about inventory and removing unsaleable goods, if we hold on to things, which I have a habit of hoarding, which is one of my character defects, that is also with food. You're thinking, this is 15 ounces and I'm only supposed to have 10 ounces. I'm not going to throw out 5 ounces, and it would take too much effort to put it in the refrigerator and save 5 ounces. But that's a sort of hoarding too. So eating equals hoarding, which is working against your inventory. Thank you. I pass.
Thanks, Alan.
That was great. Thanks, Alan. I go to Clutters Anonymous meetings sometimes, which is another program, and I kind of just went just to see what it was like. There was a marathon that lasted they do them on holiday weekends, usually telephone thing. You put on a headset and they have, a meeting from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. and people do tasks and you do tasks and then you report back to the meeting and it's like a 4-day meeting. Anyway, there were so many people in there that were from OA. It was, I would say, 3/4 of those people in there, when I said I was in OA, they're like, oh, I'm in OA too, I'm in OA too, I'm in OA too, I'm in OA too, I'm in OA too. In a way, overeating is a kind of hoarding of calories. I passed. And they have a book called 10 Years of Clarity, which I'm holding. It's a really good book. That's their book, that's worth looking at.
10 Years of Clarity. Thanks, Terry. Anybody else?
I just wanted to say that, step 5 is something that I repeat. Each time I repeat it, I do better. I learn more. And Rick, your class is been such a blessing for me doing this. The hoarding concept makes a lot of sense to me. I was in the clean plate club, so to say, and we didn't waste food. We ate all of our leftovers. You don't lock them down, so I'll throw it away. No, I might be done.
Oh, we lost her.
But she was saying about being in the clean plate club. I see the analogy. I see the connection. Alrighty, we have somebody can share on that if they want to, but now we're going to share about hearing a 5th step. Would anybody want to share about hearing somebody's 5th step?
I'll say this, Terry. I find it to be a great compliment. I'm complimented that anybody would trust me and tell me something like that, especially the current sponsee that I'm working with. I just always feel very complimented, and it's good. It's good for me to do it. I pass.
Thanks, Terry.
I think it's nice to hear someone else's step, just because I get to hear how I'm as crazy as they are, and they're as crazy as me, or they may be a little bit crazier, but I'm not judging. But there's some of the stuff that they're saying I never would have thought of, and some of the stuff that they're saying I think is not that big of a deal, but to them it's a big deal, and it gives me a chance to go easy on someone else, and kind of help and console another person for things that may be very, very little things in life, that people are hanging on to. And it gives me humility, that other people are suffering with a lot of shit. That it reminds me that it's not all about me. I'll pass.
Thanks, Francis. Thanks. Anybody else?
I'll say that pardon me. Go ahead, Rick.
Go ahead, Terry. Finish, Terry.
No, I really identified with what Francis said, and the variety of stuff. It puts my own shit into perspective. You get all kinds of perspectives from that other person that help me, be part of the human race. So it's humanizing, and I pass.
Thanks, Terry. Thanks. I would say that, I've heard several 5th steps, and I'm always struck by the phrase that we're really all the same, because most of the things you hear in a 5th step, I've whatever their faults are, whatever, I have the same faults. There's a little bit different, but it's also nice to take the time to help someone else. And the thought that Bill Wilson gave to Dr. Bob when he met with him back in 1935 was that you need to be of service, because Dr. Bob had been in the Oxford group, I think, for 2.5 years, and he could not go a day without drinking. He got drunk every day. Those are his words. And once he found out about being service, he went to great pains. He treated more than 5,000 alcoholics free of charge. And he was a medical doctor. He well could have charged for his treatment, but he didn't. He helped them out because he wanted to be helpful to other people. He was grateful for the gift he'd been giving, and also to save his own skin. And hearing a step 5 is a great honor that someone would trust you with that. And the people that do their step 5 with me, it's nice because I'm old and it's not very long before I forget what they told me. But anyway, and then plus I'm not going to tell anybody. We got a couple of things to hit. We're going to break for lunch here pretty quick. Thinking is bad. Writing is good. And I like what Paul O., the guy in AA, if in the questions, you may be an alcoholic if you substitute the word thinking for drinking. Do you crave a think at a certain time of day? Have you ever lost your job as a result of your thinking? Just all the questions. You might be an alcoholic or you might be an overeater. Just put thinking in there. My best thinking got me to 310 pounds. I cannot rely on my best thinking. That's not a good way to go. And then it was is a suggestion, when you hear somebody's 5th step, ask them the question, did you leave anything out? And then, give them time to respond. And then you would next tell the person that gave you their 5th step, you are a good person who has suffered from the disease of compulsive overeating. I forgive you and God forgives you. Go ahead and tell the person that. Now look, it's about time. We're going to go ahead and break for lunch here. Any comments from anybody?
This is an excellent workshop, and I thank you very much, Rick. I'm going to be back after lunch, God willing. But this is an excellent workshop, and I thank you for holding it, and I thank the people that are here for helping me with my recovery. Because right now I have no desire to eat compulsively. I'm going to have lunch. I'm going to have an abstinent lunch, but I have no desire to eat compulsively.
This workshop comes from this book by Wally P., The Back to Basics. We don't follow his stuff exactly, but it's very close. He's the one that deserves the credit. And I went to a workshop down in Mississippi. A lot of these phrases, like the thinking is bad, writing is good, that came from that workshop. And if you hear something brilliant, it's an idea that I heard from somebody else. Well, look, guys, we're gonna break until 1 o'clock. Now I'm gonna leave the room open. And if anybody wants to talk to each other, I'm going to stop the recording. I've gotten in trouble for leaving the recording going.